Ooh. Going undercover. After some time picking my way carefully through the darkened service corridors, I begin to wonder if I've made a mistake. I was right, of course, that the official guards would not be capable of a thorough search. Only once that I've seen have they bothered to enter these passages, and that so briefly that it was easily within my capabilities to stay out of sight. Perhaps they have focused their efforts on blocking exits from the palace. Not an unreasonable approach, but the fact remains that there are 1,000 places they have not investigated. These corridors may be out of sight of the guards and the nobles who observe propriety, but they are hardly secret. Any servant with a bucket of coal or filthy wash water, or similar undecorous tasks, would be expected to use these halls to avoid the risk of dirtying the fine carpets, and I have passed a few such already in my wanderings. None of them have questioned my presence at all. In fact, they have been eager to share the garbled gossip of how the search is progressing, all of which is mostly useless. If someone tells me that she heard from a butler, who heard it from a maid, that a guard saw a suspicious figure by the morning music chamber, well, even if that was accurate when it was first heard, and even if it hadn't been altered by passing through so many mouths, it's old news by now. And of course, knowing where the guards have searched still doesn't mean that I can rule those places out. Any child knows that one of the best places to hide a stolen toy is in a location that has already been thoroughly searched. I feel really stupid now. I never thought about doing that when I was a kid. That is clever. Something to keep in mind for the future, I guess. Not for toys, but... Anyway, moving on. I'm going in circles and getting nowhere. Also, I'm rambling. I don't know what to do next. I can't give up now. What I need is information. Motives. Methods. If Cassidy arranged her own disappearance, where might she have gone to hide? If it was someone else, where might they have put her? What contacts do they have? What do they know? Just running around loose on my own isn't likely to make a difference, but I don't have any connections here. Oh, except that one. Squire, I believe your name was? Oh, senior page. My mistake. You're not supposed to be here. Yes, I am. No, you're not. You and your prince are supposed to be in your rooms. I can't rate her for manners, but she apparently has the advantage on many of the palace staff in terms of intelligence. Not that it's stopping the others. The others? Well, you don't expect a great lord to stay still on the say-so of a nobody guard, do you? Those that are born that way know who make their rules. Of course. Wonderful. If Oscar is the only suspect staying put, that'll make things even more confusing. Wait, does that mean their rooms are empty? Could be. You wanted to get into those rooms, don't you? Spying again? I tapped the side of my nose with my finger meaningfully. I would never violate the privacy of honored guests. So you don't want to? Well, never mind then. Gosh. I take back my earlier assessment. She may be observant in some ways, but she certainly didn't invent gunpowder. Oh dear. Yes, I would like to have a look, if I can get in without being seen. A nearby window, or a service door, or a large chimney if you know the way. Or the keys. You have keys to those rooms? Maybe I do. What's there for me? Look, you... What's your name? Dolores, miss. Oh, so you're Dolores. She's like the only woman in the game, I think, that you can get an ending with. I don't think it's a romantic ending necessarily, but you do get some kind of ending with her. I may do that. I'm not sure yet. She'll be like the last person on the list if I do it. Dolores, I'm trying to find your princess and prevent civil war, or worse. I'm not doing this to gain anything for myself. Well, good for you, lady whatever, but that's nothing to me. She's a woman of the world. Give me some coin, girl. What do you want? That necklace you're wearing is very pretty. Oh no, you can't have my necklace. Oscar's necklace? No. Oh, the music. Yeah. Sorry. You're not having that. I don't think Oscar would like that very much. How about some nice shiny coin? I reach through the slit in my clothes for my purse and fetch out 4 silver ducats. Here. More than it's worth and more use to you. Present from someone special then, miss? None of your business. Very well, lady, whatever. With the bribe safely stowed, her smile takes on a harder quality. Whose room do you want? Only one? I can't wait around for you while you search. Too many eyes. I suppose that makes sense, but with so much riding on my decisions, how can I choose? Of course, Dolores is a lower servant, nearly invisible to the eyes of the mighty, and she notices things. Can you tell me a little about the other guests? I don't have all night. We have to hurry. She seizes my arm and starts to pull me along, keeping up her rapid monologue in an undertone. The Duke and his I was gonna say brunch. Sorry. The Duke and his bunch won't let even the chambermaids in to air their rooms. Don't know if it's territory or they've got something in there. The pale fellow, nobody wants to do his room because he's got all these bottles like a pharmacist. And who wants their fingers to rot off from poisons and curses? And the glittery one smells. It's true, but... She drops her voice even further to a whisper. I'm sorry, I'm like stumbling over my own tongue today. I heard it from a junior scullion that someone saw a girl who looked like the princess in his room once. Can't tell you that it's true, only that I heard it. So which room do you want to see? Oh, we actually get to choose. I'm not gonna do Prince Nozaki or Prince Gaston because they're gonna come later in later playthroughs. So I guess we're gonna go go hear Duke Farad's lovely voice again. Although she said that they're out of their room, so I hopefully won't run into him. Fine, now let's get moving, and whatever you do, don't tell anyone I helped you. Fine, it's fine. The page leads me to Duke Farad's room, where she unlocks the door and holds it open for me to slip quietly inside. Then, her purpose served, she leaves me to my task. There tends to be a certain similarity to these guest quarters. After all, there's no way to know who might be residing within them at any time. However, there's something odd about the rooms assigned to Duke Farad, a difference that nags at me until I can place it. The walls are bare of ornament. Oh, they are. No hanging lamps, no clocks, no portraits, and more importantly, the suggestion of pale outlines where such things might once have been placed. Nothing visible but closed cabinets and a long wooden chest on the floor. A long wooden chest on the door. Could Duke Farad and his attendants be pilfering the palace treasures? It would seem a foolish thing to do so openly, but as the Duke and Duchess are powerful figures within Guelanor, the crown might not wish to risk instability over a few petty thefts. I don't know, that seems kind of lowbrow. I don't know. That chest, it looks too rough-hewn for palace issue. Something they brought with them? If they are appropriating items, it might be a logical storage location. There is a lock on the lid, of course, but that is little obstacle. I am hardly a professional burglar, but I am capable of getting past a simple lock given enough time, more than it would be safe to spend fumbling in an open corridor. Here, in private, I have the luxury of being unhurried. However, it is often wise not to take obstacles at face value. I feel around the wooden sides and am rewarded with a hidden catch which bypasses the lock entirely, popping the lid open. Oh, nice. Now, for a look inside. Oh. I wasn't expecting that. To my surprise, the chest contains neither missing objet d'art nor incriminating paperwork relating to the princess's disappearance. Instead, it is packed with 3 muskets, bayonets, balls, and powder. Weapons that no civilized guest should be bringing to an occasion like this. Oh my goodness. That's really awesome rock music. I'm gonna go on a limb and say this is Duke Farad. Back away from that carefully, or I'll spit you where you stand. My breath catches. Apparently, I was too hasty in assuming these rooms were unoccupied. It is you! I just noticed his eyes and hair are purple. It's awesome. Turning slowly, I find myself facing the point of Duke Farad's blade. He's only one man with one sword, and I am not helpless. I would not make much of a companion for a prince if I were so easily cowed. However, every gentlewoman knows that sometimes submission is the best defense. He is within his rights, and I am not. If I challenged him here, then come victory or defeat, my prince would still be disgraced. As such, I offer no resistance. We were promised inviolable territory. Has all tradition been cast aside, or are you acting on your own? Wait, you're not one of Friedrich's. You're the servant of that witless princeling. Or perhaps not so witless. Has he sent you to plant evidence, then? I draw myself up with as much dignity as I can manage after having been caught with my hands in the sack, as it were. It's terrible. I am searching for Princess Cassidy. Indeed. And why did you expect to find her here? I didn't expect anything. I was searching for clues. I point to the forbidden chest behind me. You obviously have something to hide. The king seemed to believe that either you or Oscar would be the most likely culprit, and since I know that Oscar is innocent, that leaves you. Do you honestly know so little of the situation as that? You should pay more attention to your lessons, girl. I am the obvious suspect because my wife is the daughter of the current Wisdom sister, and she has just blessed me with an heir. Oh. His wife, the Duchess Sophia, is Princess Cassidy's cousin, and would have been second in the line of succession before her marriage. Okay. So if Cassidy is dead, then Sophia's infant daughter becomes the new princess. Even if it were otherwise, you insult my intelligence to suggest that I would hold my cousin here. But here, my lord, is where the crown swore not to look. I thought it was important that someone did. Child, they searched each of our rooms while we were called to assembly. Of course they did. I should have realized. Any such search must have been cursory, but enough to discover a prisoner tucked quickly out of sight. Still, just because the rooms were checked earlier doesn't mean they shouldn't be checked again now. She could have been moved after the search. Better, but you're still far out of your depth. If you mean the princess no harm, why are you traveling with firearms? Yes, please do tell. In case someone else means harm to me and mine. Oh, the music changed. With a shrug, he sheaths his dagger. I thought he had a sword. If you are what you seem, girl, your instincts are sound, but your experience is lacking. Return to your master before someone notices you missing and draws more shadow over us. If you are playing a deeper role in this game, be grateful that I do not yet have cause to kill you. Now leave. Yes, my lord. Well, that could have gone better, but it could have gone worse. A cold man and a mysterious one. Yet he could have attacked while I was so foolishly distracted with my search, could have demanded some forfeit in exchange for my trespass. Instead, he waited for an explanation, and then sent me on my way. He may yet be a villain, but not a mindless one. A clever villain, of course, is even more dangerous. Very true. Once more I slip into the hidden halls. There is no sign of the page Dolores, nor any other observers, but this does not reassure me. I have been too long gone, with too little accomplished. I must return to Oscar. I wish I had more to tell him. He's done nothing wrong, I know he hasn't. An honest investigation cannot point back to him, because he is innocent. Logically, therefore, this mess should not come to roost over our heads. But that doesn't mean it won't. Yeah, royalty's got to save face and all that, you know. It is my task to defend him in all ways, to guard him from danger, to save him from dishonor, and to present him in the best possible light. Rescuing a lost princess would make him a hero, one that any woman would want as her husband. What greater laurel could I earn for him? I can't give him what he wanted from me. This is the only gift I can offer. Oh, come on, Madeleine. That, of course, is if I succeed. If I do not, if the scandal is pinned to his name. I will not fail him. I will find Cassidy. But first I must speak with Oscar to tell him what little I have learned and see if it sparks any clue. Oh, Oscar. There was again no one on guard in front of our room, so it was simple for me to unlock the door and slip back inside. Oscar was not on hand to greet me. He may be resting his sore head, which is worrying in itself. He was knocked unconscious earlier, however briefly. His injury may be worse than it appeared. Of course, he may simply have found some way to distract himself in my absence. I should call out quietly to give him warning of my approach. Whoa! Music again! Before I can speak, a figure barrels out of the bedroom, and it is not Oscar. Intruder! Woo! Dual-wielding daggers! At once, my daggers are in my hands. Ooh. The strange man attacks with a powerful overhead strike, a move generally useful only for splitting melons. Even caught off guard, I have more than enough time to brace and catch his stroke on my blades. My angle is not good enough to push him back more than a few steps, but by that point I can assume a better stance. Ooh. He comes at me again, testing my reflexes. One move of his long sword towards my eye, and then circling down to slice at my feet. Both times easily brushed aside. Then for the middle, and this time I catch the blade again, twisting to hold his sword up and away with the hilt of the dagger in my right hand, while I push in and slash at his hands with the one in my left. He jerks back, clearly fearful of any injury to his hands, and leaves himself open. I pursue, spinning as I move to hide my precise target. With one move I can drive a dagger backwards and up into his heart. Ooh. But no, he ran further than I expected, and I catch only the air. I turn my head to find my target behind me and to the side, again making a wild overhead swing. Too late to turn, I dive for the floor and roll to come up facing the correct direction. His sword slices through empty air and into the floor, scarring the wood. He's overbalanced. Driving in my heels, I grab the plush edge of the embroidered rug beneath him and yank. Ooh. Dirty fighting. My assailant stumbles, falling back against the heavy marble fireplace, while I climb to my feet. Looks like that impact left a bruise, though nowhere near enough to put him out of the fight. He has reach and strength, but not so much skill, I think. Time to take the offensive. Ooh. I bare my teeth and snarl, then leap forward, tapping his sword at full speed with first one dagger then the other, getting him used to the pattern of parrying. When the moment comes, I trap his sword between my blades and give it a wrench that would have sent it flying from the hand of an untrained man. This one retains his grip, but for the moment his weapon is neutralized. I force him up against the wall, too close for him to bring a sword to bear, and look up into the eyes of my enemy. It is Prince Callum? What? What's the big idea, man? By the blue sky, what do you think you're doing? Testing you. I could have killed you. He smirks at me and casually eases his sword from my control. I don't think so. A prince should have the best tutors and more skill in sword fighting than the clumsy attacks he demonstrated on me, that is true. Of course, he is one of many, a neglected younger son, as he said. Why are you here? I require your aid. I don't like that the music changed. You want to get my help by breaking into my room and attacking me? I needed to be sure you would not freeze in a crisis. I need a pair of hands I can rely on, not another burden. For what? He shrugs me aside and takes a few long strides away before turning back to answer over his shoulder. A task that calls for the sort of woman who climbs out of windows and slips locks, and who draws a blade at a moment's notice. You want me to spy for you. And you think you can trust me for that? You don't know me. You must have servants of your own. I need someone with no connections. That means you, Valois of Undercover. You are going to do exactly as I tell you for two reasons. One, because I need your help to rescue my sister. And two... Oh my goodness, Oscar! He pulls open the inner door, revealing a factor that I should have considered earlier. Because if you don't, I'll slit your master's throat. Oscar! Ah! Chapter 2, The Bargain. Great, I got a bargain for his life. Drowning my heart's panicked cry, I force myself to examine the situation in detail. Oscar's eyes are wide over the silken gag, probably stray hose. I don't see any signs of further injury or struggle. Callum's actions must have taken him completely by surprise. How could either of us have guessed the prince was a madman? Think! Stall for time! Think! You can't possibly mean that. You're already suspect. This bow... He nudges very slightly with his blade and Oscar flinches. Was the last one with my sister, and you have been creeping about like a spider. If I kill you both and claim self-defense, do you think anyone will have questions? That presumes you can win. Perhaps you can hold me off with your little stings, but too late for your livelihood here. You're bluffing. You wouldn't dare murder a visiting prince, especially not like this. Tied up, his blood all over your clothes. If I scream for the guards, you couldn't possibly have the time to clean up the evidence. Clever. You are the one I need. I don't want his blood or any part of him. But if we can make a deal, I will have to call for the guards and we'll see what happens. But if we can't make a deal, I will have to call for the guards and we'll see what happens. What do you want from me? Your oath. You serve me without question until Cassidy is safe, and no knife in my back. And you expect me to cooperate when you're threatening my friend? I need a partner I can trust absolutely, and this is the only leverage I've got. I don't have time to argue. Your oath. Now. There's really no choice to be made. I can't let him harm Oscar. Fine. I'll do what you want. Formal oath. He presses his bare palm to the edge of his sword, just long enough to break the skin, and then holds it out to me. A blood vow. That's what he wants. My hand and my blood match to his, my honor subject to his will. A privilege that until now has belonged to Oscar alone. And by that bond, I can't refuse. Fighting down a feeling of panic at events moving beyond my power to control them, I remove my glove and scratch across my palm. Then, before Oscar's eyes, I place my hand in Callum's, skin to skin. Hope Oscar doesn't freak out over this too much. I offer you my service and obedience until the rescue of Princess Cassidy. Within limits. I won't murder for you, and I won't die for you. And if any harm comes to Oscar, the deal is off. Pushy, aren't you? But he takes the sword away from Oscar's throat and in one motion sheathes it. So I guess that was a good thing. You said you wanted a partner. Partners speak up. If you don't mind, I'd like to take that thing off him now. As long as you can keep him under control. My fingers are already moving to loosen the gag. Hold on, I need some water before I continue. Oh, that's better. His face. Bleh! Maddie, what are you doing? You can't work for him. He's lost his head. I glare at Oscar and hope that for once he'll read the message in my eyes. Don't provoke him. Sheesh. It's too late for arguments now. My oath is given, and this is the situation we have, so we'd better make the best of it. If he's trying to save the princess, he is our ally. And staying close to Callum means being able to keep an eye on him. Not that I can explain that at the moment. Please, Oscar, trust me. Oh dear. He's a knock-knee, double-crossing sneak. I liked him better with the muzzle. I wave my hands through the air, gesturing the two of them apart. Go. Both of you. No biting. But I want to. Oh, fine. This day keeps building up more and more apologies that I owe him. It's all worthwhile so long as he is safe and whole for me to apologize to. So, how are we supposed to rescue Cassidy? The whole castle's looking for her already. What do you know that they don't? I have the ransom note. We bring the gold, they bring the princess. How do you know it's genuine? There was a lock of her hair. If you have a rendezvous point, why not take some guards and go fetch her? You do what I say without questions. Right. He said he needed someone without connections. Perhaps he's afraid that any guard he relied on could be in the employ of the Duke and Duchess. It would be easy to arrange an accident during a hostage exchange. He's paranoid, but not completely without reason. Oscar sighs and leans against the doorframe. He's looking a bit pale. This day has taken a heavy toll on him, both emotionally and physically. Come on, we have work to do. Just you, Valois. He stays here. Leave Oscar alone? Oh, I have a choice. Yeah, I gotta talk to Oscar first, I believe. As soon as I've had that water. May we have a minute first? Callan looks back and forth between Oscar and myself. Either you trust me, or you don't. I agreed to work with you. I need to talk to my friend. Fine, I will wait. Briefly. He steps out the door, leaving me alone with Oscar. We look at each other, and the first words out of each of our mouths are exactly the same. Are you alright? You first. Oh, I'm fine. He came in, said he wanted to talk, but he didn't say much. He asked where you were, and I didn't know what to tell him. I said I sent you to the kitchens for a snack. I don't think he believed that. He took my hand, and then all of a sudden he twisted it up behind my back, tied me up, pushed me aside. It all happened so fast. Twice in one night. You must think I'm completely hopeless. Both times I wasn't with you. It's my fault, not yours. He pulls a long-nosed face. Okay, so that apparently is a long-nosed face. Got it. I didn't know what was going on, and he'd stuffed me like a goose so I couldn't even squawk. He just waited. Then we heard the outer door open, and he drew his sword and went out there, and I heard the fight, and I thought, I was afraid. I'm fine. He tried to kill you. I've had rougher sparring matches. So have you. I'm not even scratched. Really, I'm fine. He's a dangerous man. I don't like the thought of you alone with him. I'm not going off with him like that. He's forced you into things already. Oh gosh, Oscar. Oh, so close. Hey, little Oscar. Reaching forward, he takes my hand and turns it over to display the mark of my unwilling oath. What else will he make you do? The reason I left in the first place was to rescue Cassidy. That's still the plan. He's got a lead. That's all. You don't have to do this. We could find someone else to turn to. I gave him my word. As long as he doesn't try to force me to act outside honor, I don't intend to break it. It's better to make friends than enemies, right? He stands there, looking at me, and his eyes are old and tired. I have to go. Come back safe. I squeeze his hand in acknowledgement and I make my exit. Callum is waiting for me, leaning too casually against the wall beside the door. I was listening, you know. I know. Trust only goes so far. So, let's change the music and find out what we're doing. So what now? We need to assemble the ransom money. 2,000 golden ducators? Ductors? 2,000 golden ducators. That's quite a sum. But not that much for a princess, really. I suspect our kidnapper lacks imagination. You don't happen to have that gold sitting around in your chambers. No. We will have to obtain it from the royal treasury. This is your palace. Can't you just requisition funds? We need to obtain the coin without attracting notice. Rob the royal treasury. Right. How does he imagine we're going to pull that off? Picking a lock is out of the question. Treasuries are always guarded. And yet, despite myself, I'm starting to find the prospect interesting. It's a challenge, a puzzle that I can understand and solve. This is why I needed a suitably discreet partner. Rather suitably distracting. Oh no, what does he have in mind? I hope you don't expect me to jiggle at the guards. I'd look ridiculous. Too obvious. I have a plan. It all depends on how convincing you can be.